And joining us now direct from Vancouver, BC is Mr. Tyrone Doherty. Tyrone is the CEO of Deerhorn Capital Incorporated. In Canada, they're listed on DHC. Here in the United States, GODYF. Tyrone, welcome back to the program.
I appreciate the opportunity to talk to your audience again, Don. Thank you.
Now, Deerhorn Capital describes itself as a responsible, environmentally sensitive minerals and gold exploration company. Tell us again what the company does.
Yeah, we're focusing on developing, and I think that's a key word, developing a mineral property in British Columbia. It's a high-grade gold-silver property. But our concept is we're looking to use a small mines permit, which minimizes the environmental impact, which is the way of the future. We're a little ahead of most mining companies that want to just keep building bigger and bigger projects, which undoubtedly will have their problems getting the support of the environmentalists or First Nations or whatever. So our small mines impact is the way we're going. The environmentalists seem to be very happy. The First Nations are happy. As an example, to let you know one of our thought processes, it's easy to talk the talk, but it's harder to walk the walk. And one of the things in our preliminary economic assessment that we're looking towards going into production is that instead of having a tailings pond, which can have all kinds of problems when a tailings pond gets breached and goes into rivers with toxic material, we're using a system called dry stacking, which involves no water at all. So it's a little bit more expensive, but it basically shows to the people, hey, look, we care about the environment, we care about what we're doing, so even if it costs us a few extra pennies or dollars, the fact is that we do walk the walk. And there's still a lot of money to be made, so you don't have to try and scrape every penny, put it back in there and be good stewards of the land. And I think that's why we've been accepted by so many different First Nations and government people.
Well, Tyrone, with the market volatility, many analysts have seen the beginning of a precious metals bull market.
Well, yeah, I've been following it. Obviously, as I said to people, even though we have some other interesting minerals on our property, that the bulk of our revenue that we're expecting, 95% of it will come from precious metals, being gold and silver. So I take comfort in the fact that our preliminary economic assessment said that we had quote-unquote robust economics, and it was paid back in 1.6 years. And the interesting thing about that, Don, is that that was based on $1,300 gold and $17 silver. So if in fact the precious metals does take off, as most people believe it will, and I certainly think it will, a safe haven and everything, then it just means more money in our pockets, because obviously gold's a lot higher than 1,300. So every dollar it goes up, it just means more profit to the operation that we'll be having up there, hopefully in 3 or 4 years.
Can you reiterate for us about the relationships you have with huge companies like Apple?
Yes, it's the relationship we have with Apple and Tiffany is through our 49% ownership in a First Nations company called Chiona Metals that is working with an NGO out of Washington, D.C. That has a program that's called Salmon Gold, which they go and restore placer mines in Alaska and Yukon now and clean it up and reintroduce salmon to the rivers and streams. And the gold that is taken out of those placer mines are being purchased by both Apple and Tiffany, and it is marketed as salmon gold. So we got involved in 2019, and it was very successful for us. So we're going to go around and introduce new placer miners that meet the criteria. And the result of that, then our 49% interest in the revenue that comes from Chiona will help go to our bottom line and pay for our G&A and all that at the office. So it's a very unique situation. We're helping the First Nations, we're helping the environmentalists, and we're providing a relationship with companies like Apple and Tiffany. So very unusual for a junior company, but it's taken a long time to gain the trust of people, and certainly it's a pat on our back.
The company issued news recently about bulk sample permitting underway. Tell us about that.
Yes, as I said earlier, we're not just looking at exploring the property, the Deerhorn property. We're actually looking at moving it towards production. So the 10,000 ton bulk sample is basically a higher grade exploration effort where we take out the 10,000 tons, send it off to the mills to find out what the capacity is for the revenue coming out of the gold, silver, the recovery rates, and so on, and that we use as a blue book as we go towards building an infrastructure up there to go into permanent mining, which we hope will be in 3 or 4 years.
Well, Tyrone, why is this a good time right now for people to take a closer look at Deerhorn Capital?
Well, one of the real good reasons is the fact that we've now taken the step of reaching out to market makers in the United States to help sponsor us on the U.S. market. We have a listing in the gray market. We like to get that out to people. The symbol is GODYF. And we're also reached out to our listing in Frankfurt, Germany, for the international investors. And with the precious metals increasing the way it is, and we certainly have a profit margin at $1,300 gold according to our PEA. And we have very low capitalization. I think we have, after our recent financing, we have less than 40 million shares outstanding. I'm the largest shareholder. We're now we understand we're in the industry where people are looking for precious metals companies, and we don't think there's very many that can compete with us at all with all that we have to offer.
Deerhorn Capital Incorporated, listed in Canada, DHC, listed in the United States, GODYF. Tyrone, great interview. Thanks so much for joining us once again.
I appreciate it, Don. Look forward to talking to you again soon.